Hello and welcome to Matchbook's Weekend Horse Racing Podcast. If you're watching us now in video format or listening to us in the podcast, you will realise that this is not Tom Stanley. This is Aidan O'Sullivan from Matchbook, filling in for Tom Stanley. I've done up my hair a bit today, trying to mimic Tom, but let's be honest, nobody can beat the quiff. Sam Turner, what are we going to do today? Can we kind of make the best of it besides without Tom?
Well, I don't know about that. I mean, you've tried valiantly to get a little bit of action going with the hairpiece, haven't you? Which is more than me and Deasy are going to manage. But yeah, we haven't got his literary genius, unfortunately. But you know, we've got some pretty decent substitutes, including a great super sub, Mr. Jack Leach himself here.
And speaking of Jack Leach, Deasy, we cannot go any further without getting your thoughts on the Ashes. Tremendous scenes at Edgbaston on Sunday. Who wins the Ashes from here?
2 seconds there, so like my notes written down on my phone. Let's just give it a wipe here.
A lot of dead air here while we're waiting for cricket.
He's playing the part though, isn't he?
Yeah, it was great crack. Fair play to England. Really exciting. Ben Stokes. I actually you think I know nothing about cricket, but I did watch Flint Ashes in 2005. And this was absolutely brilliant as well, watching Ben Stokes just smash around the place. Great crack. So I will definitely watch the fourth test.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
it will be on in the office ad hoc during the fourth test at Old Trafford. So something to look forward to. Guys, we're coming down obviously from 4 tremendous days at the Ebor Festival. I always kind of wonder these weekends, is there a bit of value to be found? And we're going to look at 2 races from Sandown, the Atlanta Stakes, the Solario Stakes, and of course the Beverley Bullet. Let's start with the betting first of all for the Atlanta Stakes, which is 3 o'clock on Sandown on Saturday. First of all, leading the way, Jubilosa 2.2, Doomflower 4.0, Look Around 9.5, Lavender's Blue 11.5, Exhort 12.0, and Solar Gold 14.0. Sam, I will start with you first, sir. Jubilosa, third in the Coronation Stake and third in Goodwood also.
Yeah.
Kind of tainted a favourite here, Sam. Price seems to be drifting. What are your general thoughts? One to take on or one to go with?
I think there's enough strength in depth to perhaps be against her at a very short price. Look, she's a clear form pick. She's going to be around the even money, 2.0 to back or to lay. And you can understand why. Good third in the Coronation, staying on. She was weak in the market that day. That was a major step up from what she managed to achieve before, both at Newbury and when she impressed at Chelmsford over 6 furlongs. The last run at Goodwood, you can totally excuse. It was over 7 furlongs on a track which didn't seem to suit her, and she was staying on at death behind Bilston Brook, who was winning a 3rd race at Goodwood. So she was well suited to the track, fully proved and effective on the downs at Goodwood, whereas Jubilosa was trying something she hadn't managed before, and I thought she acquitted herself pretty well. So the ratings boys will say that was only between £8 and £9 within her best performance, so it was a little bit of a dip to performance, but this test should suit her a lot better, around Sandown like this, in Group 3 company. It's a nice stepping stone for her, and I can understand that she dominates the market and that people will want to be with her at around even money. I think I'm not certain she's vulnerable. I just think she's a bit tight for me, and I think there's other quality fillies in the race to sort of encourage me into a small lay, I think.
Well, speaking of which, so where else would you be looking there? Because we're looking at Doomflower at the moment, currently there at about 4.0. We'll have to suspect that there will be money come for Doomflower, given the whole, Frankie and Gosden combination. But is there anything else further on down the field that would kind of tickle your fancy?
Yeah, well, just a quick line on Doomflower. Obviously, she showed a good turn of foot to win at Ascot last time. A turn of foot which I didn't necessarily feel that she possessed. So maybe she is improving at a rapid rate of knots. I mean, she had a little bit of a break from May to July. She came back at Doncaster with a nice tidy performance in a small field. She quickened well that day on fast ground. And then at Ascot, where she proved that she's effective on a right-handed, stiff track, she picked up Look Around, who's actually a Sandown course winner as well. So he's a bit of a threat on Saturday. And she picked her up in a matter of strides and won going away. So that was a really tidy performance, I thought, from Doomflower. I think if I had to nail my colours to any particular mast, it would be hers. But I do think if you are laying Jubilosa, you have got the likes of Doomflower, Look Around, who's already proven around Sandown, and possibly even Solar Gold, who looks like she's actually screaming out for a mile nowadays. You've got those running for you against the favourite.
Micheál, Deasy, any thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I don't disagree with anything Sam says. I think Jubiloso is probably the worthy favourite. And I was just looking at last year's winner. Michael Stout produced Voracious to win last year. The exact same farm figures, third in Ascot and third in Goodwood. Now, she ran the Nassau at Goodwood, which was much so probably a better horse. Again, the price is a bit skinny for me. I just think, she's lost twice now. She didn't quite get home both times. The one I was looking at, I think this is a very open race. I was looking at something at kind of a bigger price. I was looking at Lavender's Blue. I thought she was very impressive at the start of the season. She won her debut very well at Newmarket and then had a good crack off I was getting the name of the race up here now. An Oaks trial in Dubra. She finished second to Queen Power by a neck. Now, she ran absolutely terrible in the Oaks itself. But she was given a nice break. She was due to run in Salisbury there 2 weeks ago, but was taken up because the ground was soft. I think it's interesting that she turns up here now. What did you say? Price was she's about 12.5, is it?
Yeah, 13.0 at the moment.
13.0. Yeah, I think I'd have a small win bet and a nice little place bet on her. Although I think Doonflower and Look Around are very good fillies as well. I think it's a good race.
Okay.
I think that's quite a good shout from Deasy because she's one of the few pace angles in the race as well. And I must admit, I do like horses. You get to this stage of the year, they've been banging their head against a brick wall for much of the summer. She's had that 3-month break, as Deasy alluded to. She could come in here a lot fresher than most. And, from the front, over a mile, she's already proved she gets a mile and a quarter. If she gets a savvy tactical ride, I think she could be a difficult horse to reel in. So that is a pretty decent shout at Sandown, which can often be a front runner's paradise.
Yeah, indeed, and obviously nice to have a look at a double-digit price rather than Jubiloso at 2.2 currently. Let's move on.
Just look at Amanda Perrott as well. Amanda Perrott, or last 2 weeks' form, there's a lot of 2s and 3s in there. There's a lot of them nearly getting there. So I think that this is a very good case bet, at the very least.
Yeah, 3 places, of course, available at Matchbook for that one. Let's move on to the Solario Stakes, gentlemen. Positive currently at 2.7 favourite. Al Sahel at 3.4, Visionary at 5.0, Kamiko 12.0, Ishasi at 13.0. Sam, I'll stay with you again for this one. Positive. Obviously, there was no one beating Pinatubo the last day. So, I mean, look, is there kind of, I'm pretty sure from what I've heard, exceptionally impressive debut, but then obviously the Pinatubo race happened. But fair enough price at 2.7, but because we've seen a lot of support for Al Sahel even this morning here at Matchbook.
Right. Yeah, I mean, providing everything is in place with Positive, and he's the horse that turned up at Goodwood, then I think he takes the world of beating here. I was lucky enough to be at Goodwood that day, saw him in the paddock, and he was probably, the 2 days I was there, he was probably one of the nicest horses I saw. He's just physically an absolute brute. I wouldn't have thought that Goodwood would have played to his strengths particularly. I just think he wants, in time, an all-out mile, somewhere a nice big galloping track at Doncaster, somewhere like that. He's going to see him to great effect because physically he's a brilliant specimen. I thought he ran really well behind Pinatubo. He just couldn't lay a glove on him when the Godolphin horse quickened, but he still pulled 5 lengths clear of a decent horse from Ballydoyle, who I think runs tonight actually. Lope Fernandez, who's pretty well regarded, well thought of, and he destroyed him. He gained 5 lengths clear of him. So without Pinatubo in the race, he'd have been a very impressive winner of the vintage. He landed some right tidy bets when he won first time up, so they obviously knew what they'd got. So I'd have to stick with him. I just think he's got experience. He's been in the heat of a battle as well. He's tried 1 or 2 different things. He's been to Salisbury, been to Goodwood, just a bit more battle hardened than 1 or 2 of these lightly raced types he takes on Saturday.
Yeah, it appears to me, just from my kind of naked eye looking at it, Al Sahel has plenty of pedigree, but Positive might be just that bit tougher. DC, what are your thoughts on this one? Bit of a 2-horse race for you, or you're looking elsewhere?
I wouldn't say it's a 2-horse race. I think there could be. I haven't looked at full horse. Obviously, has the most experience in it. These are 2-year-olds. They could do anything. Visionary was one of the most well-touted 2-year-olds. He was going to be every horse for every man there a few weeks ago. Now he's turning up here as 3rd favourite, which is interesting. I'm actually gone for Al Sahel though, Charlie Appleby's horse. I think Charlie Appleby was very positive about him after his win the last day at Yarmouth. He was only beaten by a neck in debut at Newmarket. I think that just at the prices, he's probably a bit of value against Positive. Charlie Appleby's horses are starting to hit form as well, though. I think 4 of his 2-year-olds have won in the last few days. So, I mean, a few of them were sharp prices, but I think this is the time of year when some of his good ones are going to start coming out. I think at his price, he's about 3.5. I like to look at him. I like Positive as well, though. I agree with everything said. Like Positive is definitely should be the favourite. I don't think Lope Fernandez was kind of ridden out to chase him at Goodwood, though. I think maybe the distance he beat the third horse is a bit flattering, but he did something not a lot of horses do at Goodwood. He came from the back of the field, passed them all, and was like he was clear to rest. He finished very well, so he's definitely a good horse. These are two good horses, I think. But I'm going to go for Al Sahel just at the prices.
Sam Turner, anything to add there?
Just a quick point on Al Sahel, really. I do agree with Deasy. He's very much learning on the job at the moment. I think he'd be a better horse in a better race. I don't think that 4-runner race at Yarmouth where he was 6-1 arm and he was a bit keen in the hood. I just don't think that was going to see him to great effect. I think he's going to be much better with a more genuine pace. There's bound to be one or two here, like Hector Loza, maybe even Full Verse. He'll take them on at a good gallop, and that'll suit him. He'll drop his head a little better and probably stretch out to the line better. So I do see him as a major threat. Mizunari's got a little bit to prove. He was stuffed in the Vintage after trying to make the running as well. It'll be interesting to see how they ride him. He's had a little month off, which might help him a little bit because he's a big backward horse. And if he was mine, I'd probably want to see him campaigned a little bit more patiently, but there we are. So, yeah, it's an interesting race, especially with Kamiko in there. His form was boosted at Foss Lash yesterday. So it's a decent little renewal, but I'm very positive about Positive.
So I love that. Very positive, but positive. Great segue there, Sam. So obviously, as mentioned at the top, we're without Tom Stanley today, but he did send me on some notes for this one. Just quick thoughts on this one. He's actually going against Positive in this one. He has the best form, but it'll be difficult to be with a horse who's beaten 5 lengths last time. He was beaten by the best 2-year-olds in training, but he still is not convinced he should be priced up so far ahead of the field. Al Sahel and SA are well entered up and improving and easy to be positive about. Even Visionary, who is only going to improve as he strengthens up and is easy enough to make a case for. He thought Positive had a far more efficient ride at Goodwood than Visionary and finished well as a result. But he is against the favourite. So that is Tom Stanley's thoughts on it. Even though he couldn't be with us, we can still hear his views on it. Right, gentlemen, let's move on to the final race that we're covering for Saturday's racing, the Beverley Bullet, of course, from Beverley at 3:15, over 5 furlongs. Blink and you shall miss it. Current favourite here, Tis Marvellous at 3.6, Danzendo at 5.5, Tarbouche 7.5, Copper Knight 11.0, and Ornate 11.0 is 14.0 bar. Sam Turner at the Beverley Bullet is never an easy one to be able to call. I presume it's not any different this year.
No, and there's going to be a breakneck pace, you would imagine, with Copper Knight, Ornate, and perhaps one or two others that like to force it and get on with it. So they're going to zip here. There's plenty of cut in the ground as well. So I just wonder whether the front runners and whether the speed will actually hold up okay and whether it might just set it up for a closer. Tis Marvellous has got to prove that he's just as effective on an easy surface as he is on a fast surface. He was impressive at Ascot, which has been his best track. Traditionally and historically, that race hasn't worked out particularly well. So I'm not bowled over even at 5-2 about his chance. Danzino is drawn 9. He tries a different sort of trip track and ground, etc. from what he tackled last time at Ascot. I was a bit disappointed he couldn't get the job done at Ascot last time. I thought he was one of the bets of the day on that Shergar Cup meeting. So I'm going to side with Tarbouche, who's already a proven course and distance winner. His best efforts come at this time of the year. I think he's 4 from 7 in August, and I think we're just still in August. So this is obviously a time historically that he peaks. I have got in my mind that the Portland Handicap at Doncaster in a week or two's time might well be his primary objective, but I can't believe that Paul Micheál had turned down a good chance of winning the Beverley Bullet. He had the wind surgery prior to his run 2 starts ago at Nottingham, and I just felt that the last couple of runs have been an exercise in trying to get him to get his confidence back a little bit. Nottingham, he was very keen and fresh and just didn't settle. And then last time at York, there were certainly glimpses that the fire still burns, and he was just getting into the race and beating a couple of lengths at York from a poor draw behind Dakota Gold Ebor week. So I thought that was a step in the right direction really for Tarbouche. He won't mind the cut in the ground. He'll love a strong pace. And in Graham Lee, he's got a guy that rides the sprint track really well at Beverley. So the stars are starting to align, and I think he's a very fair price, in and around the 7.0 mark. Yeah,
7.5 currently on Matchbook. So, yeah, not a bad one. You could probably back him in the place, probably just over about evens, 2.5. DC, this kind of race strikes me as something that you're going to take a double-digit shot at there. If I know you as well as I think you do.
No, not at all. I was going to go for Tarbouche as well. Sorry, son. Yeah, he's course form, 4 out of 6 and good to soft. He's won at Beverley in these exact same conditions before, and I think on the 1st of August or this time of year. I thought he was a solid bet. And I'd also give a little shout to maybe Intense Romance, Micheál Dodd's filly. No, she's drawn out in 7, not ideal, but she will handle a cut in the ground. She was pulled out of a big race at York last week, I think, because the ground was too hard. So she turns up here. She has a bit of decent form over the years. I think she's about 10.0, she's still.
Intense Romance, yeah, 12.0 currently.
There's a double-digit one there, so we'll go for Intense Romance. Yeah, I think Tarbouche is a very good bet in this race.
Well, speaking of Tarbouche, Sodis, how would you play that one? Because currently we're looking at 7.0. That can kind of change. Are you kind of more likely to stake a kind of a win bet only, or would you have a win in a place? What way would you approach it?
Oh, so like this Tarbouche he is still a kind of a, what would you call it, an each way price, a dirty each way price, if that's your thing. But of course, like you are getting a bit more value on the exchange. You could, like, I would be maybe doing, 50% win, 50% place, and that kind of thing. But for likes of True Romance or Intense Romance, them who's 12.0, it would be 25% win, or maybe even 20% win, and 80% place. That's generally the way I go, because you'll probably be getting better than what they'll be offering each way terms.
Of course, far better on the exchange, of course. Yeah, Sam Turner, how would you play this one?
Yeah, I think I'd probably go 40% win, 60% place Tarbouche. I think the race might be, nicely run to suit him. The cut in the ground's fine. He's nicely drawn. The Midgley sprinters are going all right at the moment. So yeah, I'd probably go that way. I could see, I'm probably speaking incorrectly here, but I could see the pace collapsing a little bit. Ornate is a jump and run merchant. If the ground was a bit quicker, I'd definitely have him on my side as well, because he produced a really good performance, even in a 3-runner race here at Beverley early on in the season, which was a tremendous time. Copper Knight is a horse that won't mind a bit of cut in the ground, but as yet he's unproven at Beverley. So I do like a specialist for the Westwood. I think it's a very individualistic track, and if you've got a horse that's well proven on the undulations and the stiff climb to the line, then that does for me normally.
Very quickly, kind of a novice question on that, Sam, just regards to stall draw. Where's good to be here in Beverley? Because I know we were looking at Goodwood a couple of weeks ago and the high numbers were a terrible place, but even in a 10 or 12 runner race here, what's a good position to be in for the stalls here?
Well, traditionally, because it's a little bit of a dog leg into the straight, the low draw is massive at Beverley. But in recent times, they've been coming more down the middle and even centre side on occasion, stand side in the centre on occasions as well. So I don't think it's a really hard and fast rule. It just depends really where the pace goes in. Copper Knight and Ornate in 8 and 4 respectively. Probably just lead them off that far side rail. That used to be the place to be, but when it gets a bit easier and the ground cuts up a little bit, certainly centre or even stand side is no disadvantage. So that'll suit Tarbouche. He's in 6, he's fine. He can go which way, well, whatever. And I wouldn't even be too concerned if I was drawn pretty high like Danzino. I still think he can probably still get into the race from there.
All right. That's the Beverley Bullet covered, and I'm now going to ask you my favourite time of the week, guys. Your best bets for Saturday's action. Tom's bet. Yeah, so I'm going to start with Tom's bet because Tom's obviously not here. His best bet is Ornate in the place market in the Beverley Bullet. Now, you can currently back Ornate at about 11.0 Matchbook. So I'm suggesting you probably get about 3.7, 4.0 for a place on Ornate in the Beverley Bullet. Sam, what are you thinking? Best bet?
I'm going to go Tarbouche, win and place. That'll do for me.
Tarbouche, win and place. Micheál, Deasy, same?
Go on, Deasy.
I'm going to go for Lavender's Blue. I'm going to go for Lavender's Blue in the Atlanta Stakes. I think that the break is going to suit her well. I think that she's a nice chunky price, so I'll go for her with a small win, good chunky place bet. Double-digit
price. Love it, Deasy. I knew you'd get another double-digit. 11.5 currently a Matchbook is your best bet of the day. You're not even taking on Jubilo, so love it. Absolutely love it. Right, that is it from us. Rest assured, Tom Stanley will be back next week. Don't forget, if you haven't got a Matchbook account and you do want to get involved in Saturday's horse racing action, you can sign up for a £10 risk-free bet at offer.matchbook.com. Enjoy the weekend racing and the best of luck with your bets.